Your mom could turn a few pounds of ground beef into a week's worth of dinners. And one of those nights, it was always meatloaf. You'd come home from school and you'd know. The smell would hit you before you even got through the door. Beef browning slow in the oven, onion underneath, something sweet caramelizing on top. She'd cut you a slice as thick as her hand. Then she'd pour gravy over the whole plate without even asking. And somehow, it tasted like being taken care of. Okay, here's what we're gonna need to make this. We need a couple pounds of ground meat. I have 1 pound of 80/20 ground beef and a pound of pork in here. Make sure it has some fat in it. Right now, for this, fat is your friend. All right, you're gonna need 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of onion soup mix. If you don't wanna measure, grab a packet. You probably have the same brand in your cupboard that your mom had when you were growing up in her cupboard. A cup of milk, 2 eggs, 3/4 of a cup of oats, gluten-free for me. And yes, oats, not breadcrumbs. That's not a substitution, that's a callback, okay? Old school meatloaf used oats long before breadcrumbs took over, so we're going home on this one. All right, we've got a 1/2 cup of the small diced Swiss. Make sure it is diced really small. I'll explain why. And then I've got about 3/4 of a cup of diced mushrooms. Next, we've got some cornstarch. I'll explain what that's for. And then for the glaze, we've got ketchup, brown sugar, and dry mustard powder. That's the whole list. Nothing your grandmother wouldn't recognize. Now, before we even touch the meat, we start with the wet mix, okay? Got the eggs, the milk, and now that looks good. Now, the onion soup mix. Here's a piece of lore even your grandmother might not have known. Onion soup mix is dehydrated onion, salt, and starch. If you dump it straight into raw beef, it spends the next half hour pulling the moisture out of your meat trying to rehydrate itself. So by the time the meatloaf is done, the meat is too. So we rehydrate it first, okay? We put it in the milk and egg mix, along with some pepper. Whisk that in, all whisked up. Then the oats go in, and same thing, whisk it up. All right, these oats are doing 2 jobs. They are not only our binder, but they're a sponge for the milk that the soup is going to share. We're gonna let it rest for about 8 to 10 minutes so it can start soaking all that up. But while we're doing that, we're going to take care of those mushrooms because they need to be sauteed. All right, we're gonna use a little tallow to saute these mushrooms. In go the mushrooms. Need to let these brown up. Look at that, we're caramelizing nicely. About ready to pull these off. This is what the cornstarch is for. We're just going to use a teeny tiny bit, literally just like 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon. That's all we're doing. The reason we're adding about a 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon of cornstarch to the Swiss cheese cubes is to keep it from melting completely out. Soft pockets, not running cheese, okay? By doing this, it helps it hold its structure, but yet it doesn't change the flavor. There we go. Perfect. Now we build. I'm going to use gloves because I am still recovering from a burn. The meat goes in to the wet mix. You don't want to fuss with it too much because the more you fuss with it, the tougher it will get. Okay, so you're going to want to mix gently. Just kind of pull it apart. There we go. Use your hands, okay? Don't use a spoon. Overworked meat squeezes out moisture during baking, and at a 1/2 inch thick, you have no margin, okay? So let's just fold it in just until it's mixed. That looks about right. Next, the mushrooms and the cheese. We'll mix those in lightly. We're just looking for texture here. We're not looking for it to be so mixed in that it disappears. All right, see? Look, little chunks everywhere, okay? That's it. Don't overmix it. Next, we press it gently, not too tightly, not too harshly, into the quarter sheet pan. Still leaving it a little craggy. Doesn't have to be smooth. Into the oven at 400 degrees. And you'll see a pan of water in my oven more times than not because I live in Arizona. It's so dry here, I put water in my oven automatically. Now we're gonna set this timer for 12 minutes. When that goes off, we're gonna glaze. All right, while that's in there, the glaze. All right, 3 ingredients, that's all we need. We have a half a cup of ketchup, a quarter cup brown sugar, and 2 teaspoons of the dry mustard powder. And we mix that together. There's that timer. This is looking really good. Let's get some glaze on that. And spread it over the top. Kind of baste it like a turkey. All right, the last little bit of glaze here. Now we're going to put it back in the oven. Now, in about 10 minutes, we should have meatloaf. Let's take it out. Ooh, look at that lacquered finish. All that real estate for all that glaze. Okay, so 5 minutes of rest. This is non-negotiable. We don't want to cut into it and have the Swiss just kind of ooze everywhere. We want to keep those little pockets, okay? Not to mention, if you don't let it set up, it will fall apart on your fork. You won't be able to like stab it and eat a bite. So I'll be back. Okay, moment of truth. Oof, man almighty. It cuts like a meatloaf. Look at that. All right. Ready for this? Holds together nicely. Nice little pockets of cheese in there. Maybe we should get a little bit of the potatoes with it. What do you think? Meatloaf without mashed potatoes is just wrong. All right. Ooh, hot. Oh my gosh. That tastes just like a meatloaf should. And I love that I'm going to get glaze in every bite. We need to stop baking meatloaf like it's 1974. And like I said, meatloaf without mashed potatoes, that's just wrong. I don't make the rules. My mom always served our meatloaf with corn too, and that just feels right to me. So I've got corn. Some things, they just don't need upgrading. One more thing, tomorrow, a cold slice of this on white bread, some mayo on one side, ketchup on the other maybe, salt and pepper, that's it. That's the sandwich your dad ate standing over the kitchen at 11 o'clock at night and pretended it wasn't the best part of his whole week? Yeah, it was. And it is. And now you know. That's the upgrade. One pan, 30 minutes, and nobody at your table is going to ask for seconds of the old version ever again. But I want to know something. Seriously, what's your meatloaf memory? The good one? The one you've been actively trying to forget? The traumatic one? Tell me in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. Because every dish in this series has a story. And meatloaf? Meatloaf has stories. You've earned this. I'll see you at the table.